Hi guys, I have with me Poornima here. Uh, she's the Associate Director of Products at Redbus.
Hi.
And before we actually go live, I just wanted to take a few minutes to introduce both of us. My name is Srinivasan Narayan. I'm one of the co-founders and the CEO of CohortPlus. And I have with me Poornima. She's the Associate Director of Products at Redbus. She started her product management stint with Redbus, and I think it's been slightly over 3 years since she's been with
Around
Redbus.
3 years.
3 years. So she's risen through the ranks, and she's actually built a lot of integrations as well as products around payments vis-a-vis Redbus. So her knowledge about the payment landscape in India in general is immense. So we're going to probe her further around that experience of hers and get some useful insights around the payment landscapes in India and about the product culture at Redbus. So that's the basic objective of this session. Without further ado, I basically open this session up for questions. But Poornima, before we delve into your Redbus stint as well as your payments experience, I basically wanted to take a few minutes out and understand how you started your product management career, because there are a good number of aspirants on our platform, and all of them want to basically build a career in the product management space. So if you could delve a few minutes around how you transition to product management. And for folks who are not aware, Poornima holds a Bachelor of Technology degree from NIT Allahabad. She worked with TCS and then Goldman Sachs before doing an MBA from ISB. Then I think she had a short stint with Axis Bank before starting her her stint with Redbus. So Poornima, if you could just tell us a little bit about your transition to a product management role, and post that we could kind of delve into everything around payments and Redbus.
Sure. First of all, thanks Srini for giving me this opportunity to be present on CohortPlus, and I hope this session turns out to be useful for all the audience who joined in. So coming to the shift to product management, I completely empathize with your audience whom you said would try to convert into product management.
Yeah, not all of them, but a good portion of them.
Yeah, good portion of them, as you said, because I faced that struggle post MBA in order to shift to product management, because I was developing products in fintech world which belong to internal risk management in Goldman Sachs, and as well in TCS, the client belonged to fintech. So when I had to shift role, there were a lot of companies in campus who got a wider selection of candidates there. There were people from Amazon, Flipkart, and obviously as a recruiter, you would prefer somebody from similar background. So then the shortlist was being difficult for me. So then I took a more practical approach that if fintech or payments is my strength, why not utilize it? Then Axis Bank had come for retail banking, technology innovation role, and I jumped into that role and was exploring payments, more of retail banking applications. And that's when an opening with Redbus came in the alumni portal.
This is the ISB alumni portal.
Correct. ISB alumni portal is a great help if you're trying to shift your career from one stream to the other. And I had a very good amount of discussion with the hiring manager and my direct reporting manager about the role, how I would fit into. And somewhere I felt payments is not being looked at just transactional at Redbus. There is a whole lot of experience, customer experience, which they want to build around it. Wow. And yeah, there was a right fitment, I guess. So that's how it happened.
So in summary, Poornima, then your MBA helped you, transition to product management, and then your experience at Axis Bank, which kind of gave you the necessary, knowledge around, I would say preliminary knowledge around financial products for you to jump to Redbus, which is more of a product company than, let's say, an Axis Bank.
Right.
Got it. Thanks a lot. That was useful, Poornima. I'll actually, start taking questions here, and it will be a mix of the questions that we are getting live, which would obviously be prioritized, and few questions, really interesting questions that we've got from our users beforehand. So it will be a mix of those questions that we got beforehand, as well as questions that we get live, and most of the questions that we get live will be prioritized.
Sure.
Right? So that's how we'll take this forward.
Okay.
So first question that we got was from Shiva. and he asked that, are there some unique product problems that you've solved for Redbus, in the sense that these are problems that are unique to Redbus and to bus ticketing as a domain, and how did you actually end up solving it from a product perspective?
Great. Thanks, Shiva, for asking this. So, if you look at bus travel, there's a lot of uncertainty involved in that compared to, let's say, boarding a flight where you go to airport and there's a place where you have to get onto the flight. There's a terminal and there are very well trained staff to help you with. Compared to a bus where it's quite unorganized, you have to reach to the boarding point. You don't know when the bus is coming. So all this is this causes quite anxiety to the bus traveler. So that's where we had this project called Your Bus, which helps you track the location of the bus and when and where is it reaching near to my boarding point. So it's not just taking GPS raw feed and then showing the route of bus. The complexity in this is mapping this GPS feed onto the boarding points, onto the delays at the boarding points, so that you know where exactly the bus is and how much time is the delay at each boarding point. Let's say the bus is busy boarding the passengers at Madiwala while I am waiting at Indiranagar. So there is a tinge of anxiety, right? You have given me 9:30 p.m. as boarding point, but still I don't know where the bus is. So that uncertainty is solved here. So that was one of the interesting problems solved by Redbus for the customers.
So basically, giving you the live location of the bus as it approaches your boarding point, right? And with a certain level of accuracy is what you think was something that was unique from bus ticketing or a bus boarding perspective.
Correct.
That you guys solved using the GPS location.
Yes. If you look into the market, I think we are the only e-commerce bus company which is solving this problem compared to all our competitors.
So, Poornima, I will also, kind of delve into WhatsApp integrations. That's one topic that, I think has excited a lot of people. And we did get a few queries around it, in the past 1 month. I think one query came only on Saturday. So people wanted to understand two things around WhatsApp. One is basically, whether can it be interactive, right? I mean, currently I know I have used or I've seen WhatsApp being integrated with, let's say, Book My Show, where I get a ticket notification and I can show that ticket at the counter and exchange that for tickets, like physical tickets.
Right.
But that's like a one-way communication. I'm just getting notification over WhatsApp. Can this be made more interactive? And I know that Redbus has piloted a lot of use cases with WhatsApp. So if you could just let us know, what are the use cases that Redbus has piloted with WhatsApp? How has your experience of integrating your product with WhatsApp been, and whether this could be made interactive or not? That's something that people would like to know. So if you could just let us know a bit about this.
Sure. So I'll divide it into two parts, right? You can send notifications on WhatsApp to customers the way you said, for tickets, for notifications on cancellations, etc. The second part, can customers come and interact with the merchant on Redbus?
Yes.
Merchant on WhatsApp? Yes, absolutely. WhatsApp has exposed APIs which merchant can consume and connect to internal functions to resolve those queries of customers into different intents. So what technology you use to convert them or answer those queries, it's up to the merchant. It's up to Redbus or a GoIBO or Make My Trip how to answer those queries. The way we have handled it is through NLP dialog flow. Suppose you come to Redbus and ask, you come to Redbus WhatsApp handle and ask,
sure,
where is my refund? So then we probe you asking, hey Srini, I see that you have cancelled a ticket yesterday from Bangalore to Hyderabad, and is that the refund you want? So we get that intent through dialog flow, and then there are functions internal to Redbus which are hit through these APIs, and there's a lot of good traction there because it's a very easy channel for customers to interact on WhatsApp compared to calling you or raising a standard complaint on forms. So typical functions which we are addressing there, typical problems are, where is my boarding point, where is my bus, what is the status of my refund, my bus got cancelled, what do I do? So it's very easy to chat over this on WhatsApp.
Yes.
Compared to making a call. Yeah.
Got it. So basically, you're trying to say that the fact that everyone is on WhatsApp or everyone hangs out on WhatsApp is one of the greatest advantages.
The penetration of the product really helps. Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah. And the other question, if it is available for all businesses, I think WhatsApp plans to open it in the month of July for everybody. Currently, it's on a pilot basis, and Make My Trip as a group is onboarded on this project with WhatsApp.
So basically, once it goes live, we can say that an enterprise edition of WhatsApp would be available, which people can leverage from time to time for solving their own specific consumer needs.
Yes, and it's up to WhatsApp to what scale they expand and how would they charge, what would the cost model. So let me not speak for them.
No, I can understand.
Yeah.
Another question is basically, and this is being asked by Rahul here. Basically, see, we have a lot of products that are offering payment as a service today, right? So I can actually, let's say, I owe you some money, I can transfer money via WhatsApp, I can use Pin, I can use Google Pays, right? So from a pure consumer perspective, we don't see a lot of difference, right? I mean, it's effectively, if you're on that platform and I'm on that platform, then we can just exchange money, or I can transfer money, or you can transfer money to me. So how do you think these services differentiate each other, right? Is it just that does it just boil down to the number of merchants they have on the platform, or there is something more to it with regards to all these payment services that are right up there today, which people can use at large?
Yeah. Hi Rahul. So when we on Redbus, for example, we have multiple wallets, right? There is Paytm, there is Freecharge, and there is PayUmoney. So the typical behavior which we observed is whenever we run an offer, there are a lot of customers who are going through that channel. Indian customer base being very has a lot of affinity towards offers, but when the offers are not there, people typically go towards the debit card or net banking channels. So from customer perspective, it's more of, do I get additional value if I pay through this wallet? So that way I see, I think Paytm has taken over that market where customers readily use Paytm for their cashbacks. So coming over to how do you differentiate this with so many players being present in the market? I think it's about the liquidity or the usability of the wallet. As a customer, I prefer Paytm because it has wider acceptance across merchants. So I would prefer to have Paytm cashback maybe compared to an XYZ wallet in the market. But if you compare UPI payment instruments, it's more about the kind of experience you build around that wallet. And I think in that, Pays is far beyond others in giving that seamless experience in paying through UPI.
So basically, you're trying to say that from a merchant perspective, it's a network effect game. The more the number of merchants on the platform, the more they will attract more merchants at one end, and at the other end, more consumers might get attracted.
From customer perspective as well, if you are giving me cashback in a wallet which I can use at multiple places, I would prefer that wallet.
So effectively, for an incumbent to kind of continue its leadership position in the marketplace, he or she basically has to tie up with as many merchants as possible, because the more the number of merchants at one end, the more you're able to attract consumers.
The network effect, basically. Yes. Which is why you find PhonePe doing a lot of advertisement these days, because they want to be penetrated in the market.
And sign up as many merchants as possible.
Right. And for example, if you see Pays, there is this scratch card program running, there's this referral program running. And I think around major part of UPI transactions today, they go through Pays, which a similar trend we observe at Redbus also, because there is more traction there for the offers or for the referral program which you're running.
But then, Poornima, I just want to delve a little bit deeper here. If people are adopting a particular payment mechanism or a payment channel because of offers, etc., isn't that a very short-term, kind of a perspective? Because once those offers dry out, are you sure that the users would stick to this platform, because they have a lot of other platforms to switch to? So how do you look at that kind of a user acquisition model?
Right, great question. So I'll tell you a practical example of what happened on Redbus. There was a wallet called as PayUmoney, which is not there in market now, but we used to have that wallet
Sure.
for quite a long time. So it's not that it had great liquidity or great usage among other places or other merchants, but it's due to the prolonged offers which we gave on that platform. There is stickiness developed. So if you have signed on to that wallet for booking with Redbus, when you are coming back again, you don't want to switch around, because I would show it that this is the most preferred payment instrument. I have saved your login details, I've saved your cards inside. So it becomes very easy for you to transact. So that way, even after stopping the offers for a very long period, the amount of transactions which were going were quite good.
Got it. So effectively, you're trying to say that
it's a habit building.
It's a habit building process, and while you might actually, kind of subsidize some things to get users on the platform, it's the user experience at the end of the day which will basically, ensure whether the user stays on the platform, or he switches to a new platform altogether. Got it. So another question we had was, from Polali, and he asks, how do you get payments from, iOS and Android, right, without actually shedding away 30% to Apple or Google? So is there some way out of it?
I think it's more of what the platform is charging you to upload your app, and it's not. They're not charging you a margin out of the product which you are selling.
Sure.
They are charging you for being onboarded on that platform. So I don't think there is a way out there.
Way out there. Okay.
You can add if you feel anything there.
No, I have no experience, so I'll go with what you say. I'll defer to your superior knowledge here.
Sure.
So Nikita asks a question: how has the UPI adoption been? I mean, is there any data to suggest that that there's a trend that is forming, a payment trend? And how has the split in payments via credit card versus net banking versus debit card changed, right? I mean, has this whole UPI thing really led to kind of a tectonic shift in, how users at large pay how users at large, kind of pay or interact with merchants? Has there been a shift or a pattern that you observe, or is it too early to even predict or guess something?
Yes, in fact, the numbers are quite encouraging. So, as I was speaking earlier, there are different offers which merchants, e-commerce players run on wallets, right? If you pay through Paytm, Recharge, or PhonePe, you get these many offers. So, if you compare that traction with UPI payments, for bigger merchants, these numbers are almost matching with wallet traction, which is quite encouraging, because that shows that even if you are not offering money discounts or any cashbacks, customers are preferring to pay through UPI. That's one trend I have observed, and we have observed at Redbus. Okay. So to the previous point which you made, Srini, saying that the experience which you build for customers really matters, I think UPI is one example where the traction is really building. So yeah, I can't divulge the absolute numbers, but yeah, it's competing out with wallets. There is what I can see.
But then I just want to take this one level deeper. I want to kind of get into this. So effectively, if UPI is slowly penetrating the payments domain, and I presume that that means that it is kind of biting away share from existing wallets, like let's say a Paytm or a MobiKwik, right? So do you have any broad idea around what is the kind of what are the kind of percentage transactions that happen over UPI vis-a-vis these wallets? A broad idea or a broad number to get a sense of how much UPI has gained ground since it kind of launched in December 2016.
Yeah, so the recent numbers say that it's around 200 million transactions in Feb this year.
200 million transactions cutting across all
across P2P transfers,
P2P transfers, everything
in India, which is quite huge. Which is quite huge. So
yes.
So if you ask if it will cut out the share from other wallets, I think if wallets like Paytm or PhonePe build a flow which includes UPI, that will make the customer experience much more easier to pay. So that way, I don't see this as a competition to wallets as such. I see more of a value addition because there are certain wallets which are already penetrated in the market. So I think it moreover makes the payment little more easier. So imagine in Paytm you are paying through UPI in turn. So at the end it's through UPI payment itself, but going through Paytm. That's it.
Got it. I'll just kind of switch tacks here, and we'll probably take some questions which are non-payment specific for some time.
Yeah.
So basically, we had this question where Costa asked, what inputs do you expect from the analytics team so that you can add revenue-generating features to your product? So how do you work with the analytics team so that you can add revenue-generating features to your product?
Sure.
And some best practices of that, if you could let us know.
So the main inputs for which I would go to analytics team is opportunity assessment. So typically we make quarterly plans or 6 months roadmap for products, and at the beginning of the quarter there is a list of prioritized products which we come up with based on the benefit versus the cost in building the product. So that's where an analytics team is really helpful. So they would help me understand which routes should I target on and what did we do in the past in these routes which worked well, so that I identify the impact of that particular strategy or the feature which worked well in the past, so that I can build on top of it in the coming quarter. And
so I would like to interrupt you here. When you said which route to target on, what exactly are you trying to target here?
So let's say there is a growth plan for this quarter. Let's say there is an X% of growth we need to achieve as product team.
Sure.
So, then what are the features we need to target for that X%? And which markets do we target? So in India in itself is a broader market of different states, right? So
sure.
do I have to target south or west or east? Which markets is their growth? So analytics team helps in slicing down this data more, saying that look, in Hyderabad maybe you're already doing quite good, you're saturated there. Don't concentrate on that market. Rather go to, let's say, tier 2 routes in Karnataka where
sure.
there's a lot of growth. There's a lot of offline or agent business happening. That's the right route for you, and this is the advertising, this is the campaign which worked well for you in last quarter. Maybe you can replicate the same. You should run it again in these days. Which days to run that campaign? All that.
So just trying to explore this further because this is very interesting. Could you give some real life examples where you tried to do something basis the data that your analytics team gave you, and it kind of resulted in a huge uptake, either
sure.
in adoption or in engagement?
Sure. So there was one project called as free cancellation which we wanted to run at Redbus. Sure. So typically on buses the cancellation charges are around 10%, 25%, right? And if you are uncertain about your travel plans, it pinches you that if I cancel, why should I lose that
yes.
much amount?
Yes.
So then there was a plan that can we run the zero cancellation fee program for customers, but then there is this finance team which says that okay, how much budget do you need to run that? So these folks being cost sensitive. So that's where an analytics team comes into picture and helps us to pull the data, saying that these are the routes, and before this much time, before 12 hours, till 12 hours, you can take a hit on giving zero cancellation fee for the customers, because it's rupees X you will burn if you concentrate on these routes for these operators. So then we take those inputs, we approach back the supply and convince the bus operators on the other side that can you sponsor us this budget for this program? Can you sponsor us for 12 hours free cancellation for these routes before the boarding time of the bus? So this project impacted quite a good upsurge in NPS for us. So okay. One of the successful projects in last quarters.
Okay, and while I'm not asking you for absolute numbers, but could you just let us know, how much of an uptake or how much of a change rate lead to in your NPS numbers? A broad percentage.
So a percentage of around 70% uptake was seen for tickets which were booked in this particular
quarter or that.
So tickets which were cancelled in this particular zone into free cancellation, they had a huge increase compared to the normal ticket cancellations.
That's pretty
yeah, very good.
For the uninitiated, NPS stands for Net Promoter Score, and that's basically a metric that most product guys use to kind of understand how good that product is in the market. And I think it just tries to answer one question, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. Would you promote your friends to travel on Redbus? And we will give you a metric from 0 to 10. Sorry, 1 to 10 on a horizontal bar, so that you're not biased towards 10 or 1.
1 or any number for that matter. Yeah. Got it. And the way it's calculated is, I think, from 0 to 6 or 7 is negative. 7 to 8
so
is
anywhere from 8 to 10 is where you would promote, and there is a lower zone. I think 1 to 3 is considered, and then there is a neutral zone. So
that's how it is. So then you finally take all the votes or all the numbers. So total number of people who voted 8, 9, or 10 minus the number of people who voted 0, 1, 2, or 3, and the number that you get is basically the NPS score for your product. And you're saying that number increased by around what, 70%?
Yeah, it was around 70% uptake compared to the non-zero cancellations.
That's great. So Rakshit asks this question. What are some innovative projects done by Redbus from a payments perspective?
Sure. So
maybe WhatsApp was one, but
WhatsApp was more for customer care.
Sure.
So for payments, if you look at the UPI landscape, right, when they launched around a year back, we were very early adopters there. There was Beam, there was UPI SDK, and banks like Axis were still building on top of it. So we were very enthusiastic. We wanted to be first in the market to launch and to see how it goes. So when we approached JustPay, and we figured out a solution that there's some time being taken by the banks to launch UPI SDK so that it's full-fledged for integration. So then what's the interim solution? We said, why don't we just call the Beam app intent call from Redbus? So you come to Redbus, and then we check if Beam is installed in your phone. If Beam app is installed on your phone, if it's installed, then only I show you an option that pay with Beam, and it comes on the top. And when you click on that, it directly launches Beam app. You go into payment funnel inside Beam. We debit your amount. We receive the response from one app to the other app, and then we confirm the ticket. This was one of the unique flows which we came up with, which was one of the early adopters in the market to try
for Beam, basically.
For Beam, yeah.
Okay. And I would just like to understand, I think today when you try to book a ticket on Redbus, there is integration with Beam. I think there is integration with Paytm. There is integration with Taze.
There is a normal UPI flow through
Collect, right? Yes. And what are the kind of traction that you're seeing today? I mean, are you seeing one particular payment gateway performing exceedingly well, or what is the split like?
Right. So Taze transactions win over Beam or all other gateways transactions, and success rates wise, I think the UPI collect call is little challenging because you initiate payment and then you have to switch over to the other channel. Let's say you initiate payment with Taze on let's say on desktop, you switch over to Taze app and then you finish the payment there. That's a little challenging, which will be covered with UPI 2.0, I suppose.
Okay.
And other than that, the success rates are quite good. They are almost the same as net banking transactions. So quite encouraging numbers.
So because you mentioned UPI 2.0, I would like to take one question by Usman. So Usman asks, what is the current situation and future of Beam or UPI conversions on Redbus? So if you could, talk a little bit about that.
Okay. Yeah. So conversions on Redbus, I already spoke about the future of UPI. I think the 1.0 version was more towards P2P so far. that you don't need to store your card details.
Card
There is a
details,
PPA created.
Yes.
I can transfer money easily to you. The 2.0 version is coming up more with merchant-friendly, business-friendly versions. There are going to be recurrent payments possible. You debit certain amount, and then the rest of the payment you can do later with UPI. So let's say I want to implement Pay at Bus or Pay at Hotel. I will debit a certain amount from you as a customer. The rest of the payment can be done later. The something like EMI payments are coming up. Something like biometric authentication is coming up. So if you look into the errors which happen on Beam or UPI, most of it is because of MPIN. Customers do not remember MPINs there. There are 2 levels of password. One is app password, one is the internal bank password. These are confusing. So if you make it biometric authentication, that would help in improving success rates. Yeah, so these things would make it more business friendly, I suppose.
Got it. So another question that Kostov asked was, as a product manager, how much of analysis and machine learning would you want to do to ensure better products are delivered to your users?
Okay.
And any examples of machine learning and analytics that Redbus has done of late, or incorporated traits of machine learning and analytics to improve user experience. I know we did speak about routing information, campaign information, etc. Analytics team gives. But the generic question here is, how much of analysis or ML should a product manager know, so that he or she is basically on top of his or her job.
Sure. So a lot of buzzwords in the question, AI, ML. So I would say, Kostov, I think more time goes into identification of the right problem to solve, and then there are so many solutions available for you. Solution finding is very easy. So AI, ML is, so don't look into them that these are hot topics in the market, I need to learn them. I would suggest that go into problem finding mode, delve into the customer experience, customer problems, or what is required for business more. One example is in the product team, we didn't learn NLP as such. We wanted a platform to have good interaction with customers. So that turned out to be WhatsApp in last quarter. And for resolving customer queries, we delved into NLP. It's not that we learned NLP beforehand. So that's my take on that. Srini can add because.
Well, I don't have a specific answer here. From my limited experience, I think of being a product manager and running a community, I think it's like when you have a hammer, every solution looks like a nail. So I think that's probably a very wrong way of looking at things. We all make that mistake. So I think it's about identifying the problem that you have at hand, and then probably understanding whether a machine learning algorithm or a deep learning algorithm would be the right kind of initiative to solve that problem. And it's not trivial, purely because to solve any kind of a good problem via machine learning requires a lot of data. You need humongous amounts of data to basically leverage, so that you can leverage it efficiently to make start making accurate predictions. And the kind of data that we're talking about here, I think it's probably owned by very few companies currently. So the Facebooks and the Googles of the world maybe own that data. But beyond that, I'm not sure how many companies actually have that amount of data or sitting on that kind of data for them to start making those kind of predictions. So I think it's going to take some time for machine learning and AI to become mainstream.
And maybe there are simpler solutions to fit into your problems. Maybe an analytical rule engine will help you rather than building a bigger AI there. So just look for simpler solutions is what I feel, unless there's a stronger use case for AI or machine learning.
Brinda asks this question: what are the top 3 things to take care of to get best payment conversions on e-commerce funnels?
Yeah.
So if you could answer that, I think that's core to what you do day in and day out, your bread and butter thing. So if you could, share some best practices here, I think it'll be useful to all the people who've joined.
Yeah, sure. So the first thing, make sure, assuming that you are at a good growth level and you are getting good number of transactions, do not depend on one particular aggregator. Have your own payment platform with multiple integrations with the bank. Try to have direct bank integrations, because that helps you to save the cost, and that helps you to cut down on the number of hops you are taking to make the transaction, basically. So your success rate of payment improves. So the number of people who are coming on till your payment page and making that attempt to pay versus how many are success on top of that improves. So the first thing is have multiple bank integrations. Second, have a very robust I would say alert system or metrics to measure this performance. Have a model there's something called as dynamic switching. Keep monitoring your integrations with these banks and see when is the time when something is going down. Can you switch those bins, or can you switch the traffic to an alternative bank or a payment gateway, and have alerts for yourself saying that this either you switch dynamically or you handle it manually, but have a very strong system to look into this metrics. Third, make sure that your customer is not going out of your funnel to any of the external parties. Have as much as possible, have very seamless integrations. If you are just starting up in the market, it's okay to land on payment funnel of an aggregator. Suppose you land on a BillDesk or CCAvenue or any other PayU page. But if you are having good traction, then make sure that customer is in your own funnel. Make sure that the sign-on experience on that payment gateway is very seamless. So we all have seen Uber Paytm experience. We all love it because I just have to click on pay once, because that's the beauty of single sign-on experience. And make sure, so there are products in the market which help you to enter OTPs or passwords on your page, your funnel page currently. Grab those products. If it requires you to be PCA compliant, go for it, because that improves your success rates by good margin. Yeah, so these are the 3 things.
So in summary, you're saying that try to tie up with banks directly rather than having an intermediary in between.
Yeah. So just to add there, an aggregator helps if you can work very closely with them. For example, Redbus has a very close relationship with PayU, being one of the sister companies. So we work hand in hand.
For our audience here, could you let them know that so basically Redbus is now part of the GoIPGo group. And so is MakeMyTrip GoIPGo group, and so is PayU also. So that's why the
PayU belongs to Naspers, and all of us again tie back to Naspers. So there is a very
tight integration,
close relationship. Okay. We exchange knowledge. We travel quite a lot, so that works.
Got it. So in summary, then Poornima, try to tie up with banks as much as possible. Have closer integrations with the payment gateways. And as much as possible, try to keep the user within your ecosystem itself.
Yes, and monitor your metrics very closely.
So that Poornima, when you're talking about metrics, and we have all the account managers here, what are the exact metrics that you track, right, in e-commerce conversion funnels? What are the Uber metric that you track? And I'm sure there'll be some sub-metrics which kind of add to the Uber metric. Could you delve a little bit more into the kind of metrics you track? For success, etc.
Yeah, so for payment, typically we track what are the payment success rates after customers who have visited your funnel till the payment page, they clicked on the pay button. How many of them have succeeded in getting the final ticket? So I'm articulating very carefully here, because there are payment gateways or wallets who will come to you and say that my success rates are 98%.
Sure.
So be very careful when you evaluate these products, I would say, because that's the success rate of transactions which are reaching them, and there could be drops of people who are coming onto your platform, they click on pay button, and then there is in India, you typically find a second factor authentication page. There are people abandoning from that page as well. And that number is 10% to 15%. So that page doesn't even load sometimes. So,
and who's responsible for that page? A new question. So is it the company that's responsible, or is it the payment gateway that's responsible?
So if you talk to the payment gateway, they would say that, see, the request did not even come to me, the customer abandoned. But you own the product as a product manager. So at the end, you have to answer for your customers. So you will track the entire funnel if the customer is abandoning from there. So that is the important metric. And the second thing is, a lot of people talk about unique payment success rate, saying that it's okay if the customer has come twice or thrice. Finally, the customer has succeeded. So I would consider it as 100% success.
But then
doesn't work for me because
that's poor user experience.
Poor user experience. So be very clear about the metric you're tracking.
Got it. So effectively, then the fundamental metric is how many people are able to, kind of do a successful transaction via your platform. And then sub metrics could be, through each of those, steps. Basically, how many people land the payment page, then how many people land at the intermediary page where you have to enter details, and then finally how many people basically are transferred to the payment success page. Right? And that's kind of a funnel that you build, and you see where the drops are, and try to, kind of improve the whole process and kind of fill the cracks.
Sure.
Got it. So Poornima, another question that we had, Simran asks is, how do you see the market for buy now, pay later? Right? I know that a lot of these top companies in India, like Flipkart, etc., have started this whole process of buy now, pay later, where kind of it's a credit mechanism, right? And then you also have services like Lazy Pay, right?
Yeah, there's Lazy Pay. There is Simple,
right?
A lot of products
in the market that are basically latching on to this new fad, if I might call it.
Yes.
So how do you see that market going? How do you see the adoption there? Has Redbus done something around the buy now, pay later mechanism? And how do you see that evolving?
I think one needs to be very clear about the target segment for this product. If you are thinking that it will help you to onboard new customers or tier 2, tier 3 segment. So first of all, you need to see, is it being covered by that particular product? Because the product is based on the transaction history of that customer with Lazy Pay or Simple. So if you are trying to bring in a customer who has never transacted online, so this company will not have history of that customer, and hence it would be low eligibility criteria, less number of customers who are eligible to come on that platform as well.
Got it.
So it's more like a chicken and egg problem, right? So having said that, there are companies who are doing looking into a lot of social profiles of these customers. Transaction history is not the only thing. They look into the fraud emails, the fraudulent phone numbers. They verify OTPs in order to be sure that yes, this is real customer. To see what is the propensity of paying back, etc. So I would say be very clear about the segment. If it's for single click payment experience, then yes, it works. But if you're thinking that you will onboard offline to online, I would see a challenge there.
So when you're saying single click customer experience is about existing customers?
Existing customers or people who are already paying online. For them, it's easy. Suppose on Ola, I find it very easy to pay through Ola Credit because I don't have to worry about cash or recharging my Ola wallet, etc. But I'm quite present online across transactions.
So maybe you are a good target for an Ola Credit kind of an offering.
Yes. So Ola is giving me credit because I am eligible for it.
For that.
But if you think that...
Yes, please go. Sorry.
So if you think that somebody from who is not present online can be onboarded through this because they can pay later, I think that's
a wrong assumption.
That could be wrong.
I think, and tying back to what we discussed a few minutes back, I believe that this is also a good area where machine learning and AI can be used, to predict whether a particular person or an individual is kind of eligible for this kind of a service or not. So you have a lot of data lying online around that individual. A lot of data lying online around that individual, his credit history, his or her credit history, and other kinds of transactions that the person has done. And if you can, and that's probably fragmented today, but if you can get all of them together and build some models which predict whether this person would be eligible for, or would kind of, given his credit history, would he be eligible for this pay buy now or pay later option. I think that can work,
Yes.
or that can basically move the needle with regards to targeting the right customers very well.
Companies like PayU are doing this.
Doing that already.
Yeah, so Lazy Pay belongs to
PayU. Got it. So another question was basically, Amartya Singh asks, nice perspectives. Does Redbus have API services like ticket booking, seat availability, etc. that other parties could use?
Yes.
We are like turning the tables now. I mean, we've been talking about APIs that Redbus uses, and now it's like a role reversal, and people now want to know if Redbus itself exposes APIs for ticketing and
yes, very much
and stuff.
Yeah. So hi Amartya. We do have B2B business where we expose ticket booking entire experience as APIs, and there are companies who onboard with us, and they display the booking funnel on their apps. So yes.
Okay. So Punya, could you delve a little bit deeper around what are the use cases that are being solved by using Redbus's APIs, and if you could name few companies that are using it, I think that would be great.
Yeah, so the normal ticket booking funnel which you see on Redbus, so all the APIs we expose it out as well. So there are bus booking which you can see on Paytm, Ixigo. We have been quite open in sharing those APIs.
Got it. So next question is by Gaurav Sachdev. He asks, do you see conversions on value-added products or services?
So what does he mean by? Can you repeat that question?
Do you see conversion on value-added products or services?
Okay. So if you are talking about something like giving insurance or giving add-ons like selling meal on Redbus or selling any other buy products on Redbus, yes, definitely, but it needs to be more relevant to that customer.
Yes, okay.
I cannot sell something which is not correlated to bus at all. So yes.
Could you give a few examples of some kind of value-added? Could you give a few examples of some kind of value-added services that have really taken off in your Redbus experience?
Sure. So, for example, when you book bus, we give an option to add hotel onto it. Currently, it's not in the funnel. We cross-sell it to you post your transaction, saying that why don't you book bus as well with us? Because I know you are traveling from Bangalore to Hyderabad on Sunday, and I know that you need a hotel to stay in. So we prompt you to buy that. And insurance is one big example where all the e-commerce players try to make a lot of money there.
Got it. So another question was, around product management itself. So it was basically around how do you translate the inputs you get from your engineering team, your analytics team, and how do you visualize them into real life products. I'm again changing tax and kind of moving to generic product management.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
So if you could just delve a little bit deeper into that, share some best practices on how you interact with your analytics team, your engineering team, and how you basically take that information from them and visualize the product and stuff. I think that will help all the product managers at large, not just those who are interested in the payments landscape.
Sure. So as I said earlier, we start with quarter planning, right? Where we set these targets that we need to make this much GMV in this quarter. So what are the different products which we can try, which we can launch an MVP or probably iterate on top of them. So, we have seen typically that when you have a set of features and ask people to vote for them or give them 10 points and ask them to vote on each of these features, where would you spend your 10 points on if I give you these 5 product features? So that really helped us in last few quarters, because all the teams, the analytics teams, the engineering teams, they feel more connected, or they empathize more because you wanted to build that product, right? Because you have put your money on that product, and the top ones will be picked up, and all the product managers, they try to sell those products internally as well. It's not that I try to influence by authority to engineering team that I'm the product PM for payments here, so you have to do what I tell you. It doesn't work that way, believe me.
Sure.
So if you have to drive the right velocity, you have to ask them their opinion, include everybody out there. So that's how the planning part of it starts. You wanted to add something?
No, please go.
Yeah. So and post that. So these features, when they're presented in those meetings, there is already some kind of groundwork done by product team along with analytics that for this much percentage of GMV, this will be contributed by these feature A, B, C, and then we decide which one has to be prioritized more. And so post this voting.
Priority, by the way?
So for priority, value versus cost is one, as we discussed. Second would be the voting which we are getting from different PMs. That's one. Third, after all this is done, we evaluate what is the complexity of it. So some of the times you feel that this is the best product to reach out to the customer for delight, but in order to flesh it out completely, maybe it takes a longer period to do this, and maybe there are products which can be done in much shorter period and delight the customer as well. So it's more between the time which is taken to launch the product, the complexity of the product, versus what is the revenue or the customer delight you will drive out of it. So that goes into prioritization.
So Poornima, then in summary, basically you're trying to say that product management role is a role where you are more or less an individual contributor. So if you have to, kind of translate whatever engineers or analytics guys are building into a good product, you need to kind of get them into the loop and ensure that they kind of buy into your vision rather than basically kind of boss around with them.
Yes.
And the second point that you said was basically around prioritization, where you said it's a trade-off between what is the impact that it is going to make versus the amount of cost of building, and cost could be the amount of time or the amount of money that you need to shell to build
complexity,
etc. I know it's a fine dividing line between doing everything and picking and choosing the right ones.
Yes.
So maybe that's something.
I would always prefer picking the right ones, even if it's not a great product to build. Pick simple ones could solve customer problems sometimes. So.
Got it. So the other question, Poornima, was around what is that, and this is again asked by Rahul, and he asks what is the next big thing in payments that's going to happen, right? Or which is the next big domain that payments is planning would disrupt, right? How do you see the payment landscape evolving in India, right? Which is that next big pain point that payments as a solution could solve wonderfully well, something that has not yet been done. So looking into call it the immediate or the midterm future. So any thoughts on that? I mean, you've been in the payments landscape for like 3 years now, so I guess your thinking and your ideas would surely be closer to reality than, let's say, me or anyone.
No, I don't know closer to reality, but I would share my opinion.
Sure.
I feel buy now and pay later is something which is very exciting because so you know that I have the potential to pay and I have come to your platform multiple times. So why don't you just give the product to me and underwrite you are the payment gateway or the product there, similar to Lazy Pay or Simple in the market. So can you underwrite the merchant there? Or maybe bigger merchants in the markets can come up with their own products. Somebody like Make My Trip or Flipkart can, given that there's a lot of data, as you mentioned, with them, they can have their own algorithms and take the risk of underwriting their own
insulating the
customers.
user kind of.
Yes.
Okay,
yes.
so
that's very interesting. Apart from UPI.
Okay. Anything else that comes to your mind?
So the other thing which is quite interesting, not a big revolution, but in terms of the payment success rates, if you see, right, we have the second factor authentication, which US markets, for example, they don't have. You don't
Yes.
enter a OTP in US market.
Absolutely.
In India, much of the drops happen at this second factor because
Sure.
people do not get OTP, or there's a learning curve that I have to receive my OTP and enter it.
Yes.
All of us do not have debit cards. I don't know how to pay. So there are flows coming in to circumvent this OTP completely. So there are companies which are working on it, which are speaking to RBI for circumventing this. So there are relaxed guidelines from RBI saying that for this much, for transactions below this much amount of value, you can remove OTP, or you can collect OTP on your own e-commerce funnel page. So these are quite disruptive.
Got it. So in summary, you're talking about three things. One is buy now, pay later.
Yes.
Fundamentally, everyone loves credit, so
yes.
That's one. Second is generally UPI transaction itself. So the government itself has done a great job in opening this up, and kind of help build an entire payment infrastructure that startups as well as seasoned companies can kind of piggyback upon, and kind of improve the entire user experience and take digital payments to the next level. And the third is circumventing two-factor authentication.
Yes.
There are obviously RBI regulations around it, but you feel that that is something.
Yeah, so there's a lot of work being done in this space. So I'm sure something will come up in very near future,
regardless of the RBI compliances, etc.
That I wouldn't comment on, but maybe somebody is trying to relax those rules. Talk to RBI for better fraud check mechanisms, security, etc.
Sure. I'm just looking at the time, and I think we are nearing completion. It's close to 5 p.m. So I'll ask my last question.
Sure.
I think that's around basically as we kind of end this discussion, one of the biggest challenges that you faced in your product management career, right? One of the biggest challenges you faced in your product management career at Redbus, and one of the best product experiences that you've had while you're working at Redbus. So if you could just delve a little bit on that.
Sure. Yeah.
That would be great.
So the biggest challenge is that identifying what to be done in order to improve the metric. I think that's the challenge, because so usually you have so many solutions in your mind that you want to fit the solution into the problem.
Yes.
So what has to be attacked in order to improve the metric, delving down into that particular feature, that's most challenging, I think. When you ask me what has been quite exciting in very recent quarters, so there was one metric that we have to bring down the imperfect score from customers. So that metric is number of transactions which are causing customer complaints for us. Let's say it's X% out of 100 transactions we do. Let's say it's 20 or 30. Okay. So I take care of customer experience as well. Post transaction, what kind of complaints do we get? How do we avoid those? Give best customer experience, etc. So that was one challenge we took up. That let's bring it down by around 40%.
Got it.
So then there are so many readily available solutions, right? Okay, let's give refunds on time. Let's ensure that if your bus is cancelled, you will get your ticket reassured by Redbus, or so many of these are there. What do you do first out of all this? Prioritization and understanding that what do you need to do. Perfect. Even if you want to prioritize, you need set of features in your bucket so that you know what to prioritize on. Then we had to look into all the data from customer complaints. So we use Salesforce internally, which gives us the complete 360-degree view of all the customer complaints. Let's say you came on call, or you went to the standard form on our website, or you came on WhatsApp. We looked into all this data and we came up with features saying that these are the top 1, 2, 3 questions for which customer is approaching us. So which is the kind of data points that you used to come to a conclusion saying that these are the top initiatives that we should take to reduce the number of complaints, if I might call it. Yes. Right. So what are the data points that you used? I'm just curious. I think the audience here would also be interested to know. Yes. So one of the very surprising thing is that we always thought if we give your refund amount, or on time, it will be quite useful for customers.
Immensely kind of
But if you look into what customers ask, it's more like the anxiety that am I getting it on time, that makes them call us repeatedly rather than it's the trust or brand building there that yes, if your money is stuck with us, we will give it to you for sure. So people want to know, why am I getting 80 rupees out of 100 rupees? Give me the breakup of that. And even if we say typically 5 to 7 working days you will get your amount, tell me by which date it will come. Tell me constantly that yes, I will get my amount.
So rather than the amount itself getting credited to the account, it was about the trust.
The trust factor, the way we construct the funnel, the way we show the information in the funnel. So typically as product managers, we always want to build cool things, right? Like Absolutely. AI, ML. Sure. So these are the ones which are buzzwords.
I'm surprised there are no blockchain questions here yet.
Yes.
But anyways, yeah, please go on.
Yeah, but if you see what customers are coming for, they're saying that if you know some information, please pass it over to me also, so that I'm assured, then I will not call you back. So then the repeat calls come down. So push me as much information, don't spam me, but make me aware of the information so that I won't come back to you. So then we pulled out data from CRM, and then there were algorithms run on top of it, looking for the keywords, the kind of trends. So earlier the complaints were on a very wider range. We divided the complaints, we gave categories to customers that fill in these categories. We made changes in the product in the CRM that if there is a call from the customer, it's a mandate that you record, you templatize that call. We made it mandate. We trained our entire call center team there. So lot of back end work which happened around that, so that I know what I am targeting. We wanted to measure it.
Got it. So Poornima, in summary, you were trying to say that giving constant updates to your customer, contextual updates to your customer with regards to any problem that he or she has faced, helped you build trust and helped reduce the anxiety at the customer's end. Yes. And that in turn helped in improving your metrics with regards to reducing the number of complaints that are coming on the platform. Yes. Right? That's great to know, Poornima. I think we are short on time. We've already crossed 5 p.m. So I would like to take this opportunity to thank you from the bottom of our hearts,
My pleasure.
All of us. I think it's been a very, very insightful session. I surely, for one walk back, understanding a lot more about the payments landscape than I was 1 hour back. So it's been pretty useful. Thanks for taking time out on Sunday. All of us basically want to relax on that day, and I would like to thank all the people who joined live here and asked all their questions. So this video, by the way, is going to get recorded, and you can play it back at any point in time in the future for you to glean useful insights. But yeah, Poornima, thanks a lot. It's been a very useful session. And to all the users who've come live here, thanks a lot to you guys too. You made this whole session successful, and I also want to kind of take this opportunity to let you know that this is just the beginning of a lot of such insightful sessions that we plan to do on Facebook and on other media channels to ensure that you as our users get to learn more about the product management as a discipline and kind of hone your skills further. So till the next time, see you guys.
Thank you. Bye.